By 2026, the global economy is projected to reach an astonishing figure, over $110 trillion. This is not just a cold, hard economic statistic. Behind it lies a grand global power game. Every $1 trillion increase or decrease marks the rise and the fall of national fortunes, the ebb and the flow of regional power, and the silent transfer of power in the global industrial chain. But beneath this seemingly prosperous map of wealth, a dramatic economic reshuffle has quietly begun. The old order is being broken. The former kings may be stumbling, and the new leaders are sprinting ahead. Geopolitical rifts and protectionist barriers have created enormous uncertainty for the global economy. In this ultimate race that will determine the future, who will emerge as the true front-runner? Is it a massive traditional hegemon, a rapidly growing emerging dark horse, or the core engine that can provide power for the world? Today, we will reveal the picture of this competition from the three core dimensions of GDP: economic growth rate and contribution to global growth. Part 1. The battle for ballast, the absolute king of total GDP. First, let's look at the first dimension, total GDP. Nominal GDP is the most direct measure of a country's power in global trade, finance, and geopolitics. It acts like the ballast of a giant ship, determining how stable the ship can remain in rough seas. So, who will take on this ballast role by 2026? Unsurprisingly, the United States remains at the top of the list. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF forecast, the United States GDP is expected to reach approximately $31 trillion by 2026, continuing to hold its position as the world's largest economy by an absolute advantage. Strong investment and financial support in the artificial intelligence industry have fueled the continued expansion of the U.S. economy, enabling it to maintain its role as the king of scale in the global economic arena. Following closely behind is China, which is expected to remain the world's second largest economy, with a value exceeding $20 trillion, calculated at market exchange rates. Despite some challenges, China's strong industrial base and policy support ensure that its economy remains enormous, making it a core player that cannot be ignored at the global stage. But perhaps the most eye-catching thing on the 2026 total ranking is a historic breakthrough. India is projected to surpass Japan to become the world's fourth largest economy, with a GDP of approximately $4.5 trillion. This moment will become a landmark event in the changing landscape of the Asian economy. Looking at the entire list, the top 10 also include traditional powerhouses such as Germany, Japan, the United Kingdom, and France. However, an irreversible trend has already formed. According to some forecasts, between 2025 and 2027, Asia's nominal GDP is expected to officially surpass the combined GDP of North America and Europe for the first time, becoming the true center of gravity of the global economy. Emerging markets are playing an increasingly important role in the global economy. This is not just a change in numbers, it is a profound restructuring of the global economic landscape. Traditional developed economies such as Europe and Japan are generally facing challenges such as aging populations, high debt levels, and slowing growth. According to forecasts, Germany, France, and Japan are generally expected to grow at a rate of around 0.5% to 1.5% in 2026. In this battle for the ballast, although the United States remains the dominant power, the rise of Asian forces, especially India's historic leap, has already foreshadowed the future flow of power. Part 2. The Sprinter Showdown, the dark horse legend of economic growth. If GDP represents existing strengths, then economic growth rate determines future growth potential. On this sprint track, the leaders are no longer the big countries we are familiar with, but some dark horses that you may not expect. According to IMF forecasts, the world's fastest growing country is likely to be Guyana, a small South American nation. With a projected growth rate exceeding 10% or even 15%, it stands out globally. All of this stems from its large-scale offshore oil discoveries. The same story is unfolding in Africa, where resource-rich countries like Guinea, benefiting from a mining boom, are also demonstrating strong growth potential. These countries share common characteristics. They are either resource-driven or in dire need of reconstruction. Their explosive growth, though not large in scale, reveals an important logic of global growth in 2026. Resources and reconstruction, which is creating a new speed miracle. Of course, we are more concerned about the performance of major economies. In this sprint race, who is the boat of the great powers? The answer still points to India, with a real GDP growth rate of approximately 6.5%, as predicted by the IMF. India is not only the fastest growing major country in the world, but also ranks among the top economies globally. A large, young population, continuous policy reforms, and robust domestic demand have collectively fueled India's rapid economic growth. In contrast, the growth rates of other major countries appear much more moderate. According to current forecasts, China's growth rate is expected to be around 4.5%, which is still a considerable figure globally, demonstrating the strong resilience of its economy. The US growth rate is projected to be just over 2%, which is quite good among developed countries. However, when we turn our lens to Europe and Japan, the picture is completely different. Growth rates in Germany, France, Italy, and the UK are generally hovering between 0.5% and 1.3%, while Japan's growth is projected to be only around 1%. This battle of growth rates paints a different picture of the global economy in 2026. On one side, emerging small countries like Guyana are creating growth miracles, while on the other side, India continues its sprint as a major leader, and the former locomotives of developed countries have collectively entered a period of slow growth. This is not just a race of speed, but a contest of future potential. Part 3. The engine of growth. Who is the biggest contributor to global growth? We've looked at who as the biggest and who as the fastest, but there is still a crucial question. Who will be the core engine driving global economic growth in 2026? The answer to this question depends on the product of scale and speed. An economy's contribution to global growth should be judged not only by how fast it grows, but also by its size. In this dimension, the answer is crystal clear. According to the IMF's calculations based on purchasing power parity, China is projected to contribute approximately 26.6% to global real GDP growth in 2026. This means that for every $100 increase in global wealth, more than $26 is created by China. Although China's economic growth rate has slowed down compared to the past, its huge economic base means that every percentage point of growth still brings an astonishing absolute increase. It's like an aircraft carrier. Even if it's not fast, the waves it creates are far more powerful than any speedboat. China is undoubtedly the largest single driver of global economic growth in 2026. Following closely behind is India. According to forecasts, India will contribute approximately 17% to global growth. This is the second largest contribution rate in the world. India's combination of a large population and extremely high growth rate makes it another powerful engine driving the global economy. Now, let's add these two figures together. China and India together will contribute approximately 43.6% to global real GDP growth in 2026. Nearly half of global growth is driven by these two Asian giants. This is a number that defines an era. This signifies that the driving force of the world economy has clearly shifted from the West to the East. So what about other countries? The United States, as the world's largest economy, is expected to contribute about 9.9% of global growth, the largest contribution among all developed countries. But the gap is obvious compared with China and India. The entire Asia-Pacific region, including countries such as Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines, contributed nearly 60% of global growth. The combined contribution of the former world centers, the United States and the European Union, is far lower than that of Asia. The outcome of this engine battle is already very clear. If the global economy of the 20th century was driven by the engines of Europe and the United States, then in 2026, the poles of the world economy will beat with every third of the China-India twin cores. This is not only a victory for gross contributions, but also a fundamental and historic reshaping of the global economic power structure. Now, let's return to the original question. In this massive race, worth over $1 trillion, who will be the true frontrunner in 2026? Through analysis across three dimensions, a clear picture of the leader has emerged. This is not a single winner, but a leading group with a clear division of labor. First, there is the leader in total volume, the king of scale, the United States. With its massive size, which is expected to exceed $30 trillion, the United States remains the ballast of the global economy and the absolute hegemon of the existing economy on this planet. Its stability is crucial to the global financial system. Secondly, there are the growth leaders, the kings of explosive growth, emerging resource-rich countries represented by Guyana. Their astonishing double-digit growth rates demonstrate the explosive potential hidden within the global economy. They are the spring champions on the track, representing new and unexpected opportunities that may emerge on the wealth map. Finally, and most importantly, the leading contributors, the king of engines, China and its counterpart, India. With a contribution of about a quarter, China has become the undisputed core engine of global growth, while the dual-core drive of China and India contributes nearly half of the global growth momentum. They are the core elements that truly drive the giant ship of the world economy forward. Therefore, the global economy in 2026 will no longer be an era led by any single country. It's more like a complex team competition. The United States maintains the width and foundation of the track. Athletes like Guyana set amazing speed records, but ultimately, what drives the whole team forward are the two powerful core members, China and India. This global economic power game profoundly affects the fate of nations and is also closely related to the investment decisions, career planning, and future wealth of each and every one of us. In this unprecedented global transformation, have you recognized the opportunities? In this momentous change, who do you think will have the last laugh? Is it the long-established hegemon, the United States, the powerful engine of China, or the infinitely potential India? Please write down your favorite country and your reasons in the comments section, and let's discuss it together. If you are interested in understanding future economic trends and eager to seize your own opportunities in the tide of the times, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.